What do you want?
Oh. I think it would be great if we had a couple beers. This would be perfect with a couple beers. Eh?
I know. Well, I don't know if I need any of these. I think that's where we should probably start. This is a great song. So it's about what? It's about Gordani. It's a tribute by the Glorious Sons. It's called Gordy. All right, we might as well start this off. All right, hold on. Okay. Welcome in one and all to the first ever.
This is the Yonge Canadian.
This is the Yonge Canadian. I guess this is our. So Kyle. This is.
We're finally here.
We're finally here.
We're doing it.
It's been a while. Like we feel like we've been talking about this for a long time.
It's been a while.
Every person and their friend has said at some point, I should start a podcast. And then people do it, and it's like, But I feel like we're actually doing it. And we're obviously at a cool space. We're at the Kitchener Public Library of all places. They've got a full recording studio.
And a podcast studio.
Just so we look like we're legit, which is ironic because...
Well, we are.
Well,
that's the reason why.
Oh, yes. Yes, we're very legit. So I'm Stevie T.
Hey, I'm Kyle Crossman, and what this is. Well, let's dive into it. Let's tell the people what we're doing.
Yeah. So why don't we start it off? This is your baby that started off a while ago, and you're probably the best one to take us home.
Right. So well, things started off years ago, and I was kind of like just after university, and I was like, hey, what do I want to do with my life? And I've worked in pretty much every single industry in this country, and I thought, you know what, I have quite a bit of experience with doing different jobs, what a lot of people say, jack of all trades and master of none.
Yeah.
And I love Canada. And with kind of like feeling all the different things in the news the past couple of years, that, I think there's something about Canada that seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I wanted to create something that was uniting with for people who are young in Canada.
Yeah.
That's different from some of our parents' generations, and we feel like it's maybe our time to take over with our culture and have our own say and spin on it.
Okay.
So I thought of this idea. It's called the Yonge Canadian.
Yeah. We're here. We're gonna have a bunch of graphics. I'll post some graphics on this so it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Yonge Canadian. Spelled like Yonge Street. I'd like to add for those people.
Yeah.
So when I met you, you moved in, and we're now roommates, ironically, I know, right? We moved in together, 6 months ago?
Yeah,
Is that just about right?
Yeah,
and
4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, okay. It felt like forever. We're just so tight. And you kind of, I remember, because at the time, I'm for people that know, I'm a content writer and content producer. I do mostly copywriting and starting to get in video work now. Kyle's in sales and software. But he kind of brought up this idea, and I had actually been starting to looking at doing some blogging, and it really resonated with me. And we kind of went from, all right, it's an idea. You guys have the site up. Kyle, we need some articles. And then you want to do a podcast, and then the next thing you know, we're here, and we're kind of trying to get content out and have fun with it.
Yeah, we're still trying to find our way. Yeah, for sure. But the idea of the Yonge Canadian, it was sort of trying to challenge our ideas across the country.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what's the best way of doing that? Maybe having a website or something that people can post stuff on, and also write articles on young Canadians. And what I mean by young Canadians are Canadians who are young and are
it's because it is, it's the times are changing a lot right now, and I think you kind of said it when you first mentioned it, my first thought was I think it's really powerful. I wonder how much kids are reading these days, and versus watching content, which I think part of the reason this podcast is so important is video content is just really good to do. People interact with it a lot.
Yeah.
But I love the idea, the Yonge Canadian does, there's some articles up, and I think every week the idea, whenever there's a podcast, we're going to kind of have a piece up to go along with the podcast with some of the stuff we talked about, and down the road we're hoping people to contribute and kind of develop a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
Is the game plan. But I like the tagline we have right now in the Yonge Canadian. So the Yonge Canadian is a collective of incredibly funny and talented content producers exploring what it means to be Canadian from coast to coast to coast. So do you mind if I keep reading?
Do it.
Okay.
Go for it.
So maple, syrup, plaid, hockey, and snow. The Yonge Canadian is more than the Canadian stereotypes and pictures off of your grandmother's landscape calendar. Our quest is to be your voice and a voice and a part of Canadian youth culture. And our idea is through weekly opinion pieces and happenings in the arts and events and things to explore. We kind of hope to kind of tap into that voice and have contributors down the line. And we know there's a lot of noise out there. And our goal is to kind of be balanced. So we're going to have guests come on from time to time because, one, we know we're two dudes that are Like we live in Kitchener. We've been traveled a little bit, but it's about having a bit of opinions. And I think one thing that we're striving for is like, I think we're gonna get into it, and it's kind of about Canadian culture. And tell me if I'm out to lunch here. Is that there are so many beautiful different types of cultures and people coming from all over the world in Canada. But we have a Canadian culture that exists over top of everything. And I think people sometimes like to think Canada is just like a mix match of cultures, but there is continuity to an extent,
the
right?
idea is to kind of highlight our uniqueness in a lot of ways while challenging stuff that should be challenged, and also, maybe playing devil's advocate in a lot of ways to kind of create, to show you maybe more than one perspectives. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times in the media these days that you have one perspective, even depending on who's writing it or who's reading it, they may read it in different ways. And I'm trying to see how people can maybe challenge their own ideas on who they are in Canada, what Canada means to them, and maybe what they're sort of doing for their place in society. Okay. So,
well, I kind of like I started. I think I told you I started writing for the community edition in Waterloo. So it's run by a Laurier. It's a Laurier paper, and I'm doing a monthly opinion piece on politics right now. Yeah. And it's a very left-leaning paper, and I think we talked about, like, we're pretty centralists, and if not left, like socially, like we're obviously socially left-leaning. But I think the one thing I've noticed, because I went back to school at like 25, I went back to university to finish because I'd left for a long time.
He's not that young.
I'm not that young. Don't tell anyone. But like, I still feel young at heart. But I feel like there was like the kind of the ability to challenge somebody without offending them is always really tough. And the thing is, you have to, with some topics, you have to be careful and you have to be respectful because you have no idea somebody's lived experience. But then there's
at the same time.
Yeah, but
you have to push it.
Yeah, right. So okay, and I think this is where we come back, and it's like, I think this is the best thing that we've got going, is that I'm one that I always want to like build up somebody, but there's also times where it's like, if you never challenge somebody to like just at least think about the other side and then have a discussion about it, because the way you treat people you disagree with says a lot about who you are. You know what I mean? And it says a lot about learning and challenging and getting to better ideas. So I'm kind of hoping, like, I think that's kind of what we're going to kind of do is, like, I mean, we align on a lot of things, but there's things that we're obviously going to differ on. And
there's
we're
a ton of stuff that we disagree on.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's going to be guests. I'm trying to be polite. I don't know, I was Canadian, eh? And we're going to have guests that are going to challenge us. And I'm excited to kind of, like, see how it unfolds.
Yeah, it'll get us out there for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm pumped. I'm really pumped to see what we can do and hopefully engage people in their Canadiana, their Canadianness, and see what we can make people think about this country, I guess.
Yes. So we have 5 topics today.
Yeah. Okay. So for the intro. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you mind if I drum it? Okay. So we got 5 topics we're going to cover today. Who says Canada doesn't have any culture? Canadian Corner of the Week. We feature a weekly city. We're going to be talking about Netflix, how it's killing my goals. I'm sure people can relate out there. We have a small music section that we're going to talk about a weekly artist, thanks to our fellow contributor, Michael Tunks. And then we're going to do a quick wrap-up, and maybe this ends up online, maybe it doesn't. Either way, Kyle's going to keep talking into his microphone so I can get good sound on here.
You're right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so Kyle, talk about the Canadian tuxedo for me, my friend.
So who says Canada doesn't have any culture? Yeah, so the Canadian tuxedo is kind of this idea that when it first came out back in the 80s.
Ridiculous. What is the Canadian tuxedo? People don't know what I didn't know what a Canadian tuxedo was.
Seriously?
Yeah, dude.
Guys, come on. Who doesn't know?
Hold up. Quick poll. We're going to give it 10 seconds. I'll do this later. Yes or no, you like Canadian tuxedos?
Yes or no, you know what a Canadian tuxedo is?
Yeah, sorry, that's what I should have said.
100% yes, you know what it is.
Okay, we're going to get some feedback in it.
If you don't, for you people, shame on you.
I wonder if we should be live streaming this. I feel like this would have been a better idea.
No, God, no.
No, God, no? Okay.
I don't know.
Anyways, next time we might live stream at some point.
Because we're like,
you never know. Anyways, food for that.
Aside.
Yeah.
Parking lot,
yeah. Okay, so talk about
Canadian tuxedo. For
what?
Those of you that don't know, is this iconic style that was probably birthed in the 1980s.
What is it?
We're getting there.
Okay, you got to start with the start of the story, man. I'm impatient.
We're getting there.
Okay.
The Canadian tuxedo is this iconic fashion that was, I think, first introduced to our society in the 1980s, and it might have been accompanied with, a mullet,
Okay.
but it is your classic jean on jean, denim on denim attire. The thing about the Canadian tuxedo is it's appropriate for any event, any situation, anything in life. You can get away with wearing a Canadian tuxedo.
Anything?
Anything.
And name you so I could go to church in a Canadian tuxedo.
People do, and it's been done.
I don't go to church.
And they rock.
It'd be fine. But I could go to
Shocker.
the supermarket.
Yeah.
I could go
Heads are turning.
play golf. Don't do that either.
What?
Play golf. I don't really play golf, but let's say, can I go play golf in the Canadian tuxedo?
Yeah.
I could go
You go
on a first date in a Canadian tuxedo. I've seen you go on a date on that.
That's
which is why
encouraged.
you usually come home alone, my friend.
Because they're not wearing a Canadian tuxedo. Okay. Let's back up.
Yeah,
a little
sorry,
bit. So
sorry,
the Canadian
sorry.
tuxedo, who doesn't have any this is it's called the Canadian tuxedo because back in the 80s, typically you see a lot of guys and gals and whoever else wearing denim on denim, full blown like a tracksuit but a denim suit pretty much.
Okay.
And it was called the Canadian tuxedo.
Why? I don't get it.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just people in Canada wore it and they rocked it. You might have obviously seen I don't know. There's a bunch of people, famous people have worn. Justin Trudeau was wearing it at the Tragically Hip concert, the last Tragically Hip concert a couple years ago.
Okay.
Larry and Tyser rocks it, pulls it off very nicely. I don't know. The list. I'd be here all night. They would be here all night.
Believe that shit? Okay. So Canadian tuxedo is obviously a thing.
And it's making a comeback. It went away for a couple of years, and it's making its comeback. Anyway.
It's making its comeback.
Yeah.
So this builds in this idea of Canadian, like Canada has no culture, and then we have this. I kind of started out this way. We have so many especially I grew up in Toronto. Don't have to make fun of me. I know you want to, don't do it. But like one of my favorite things about Toronto is like you get on the TTC, you're bound to hear 10 different languages. You're gonna take a walk through downtown. You could find so many different types of restaurants. And nobody asks you people where they're from in Toronto. And the only time is maybe if you open your mouth and you have a bit of an accent, someone might be like, "Oh, where are you from?" But it doesn't matter what you look like. People are just you're in Toronto, you're Canadian. And I think that's kind of part of what Canadian culture is a little bit too. And I think that
in a
gets
lot of
missed.
ways. In
You
a
know
lot
what
of
I
ways.
mean?
But at the same time, there's other major cities in different parts of the world that have the same experience where you can go, say, New York or I don't know, London, England, or
And there's
whatever,
diversity.
right?
Yeah.
They are Tokyo, same thing. You're driving.
Tokyo?
Tokyo is a pretty major international city.
Yeah, but it's not diverse.
Well, yeah, I'd say if you walk on the subway, you can find other cultures for sure.
Okay, but I think
I've never been. Don't get me wrong. I've never been. I'm just speculating here.
Sticking on your ass.
So anyway, my point is that just because we still have that same experience where you're in a subway car full of 10 different diversities or
10 different people, doesn't matter yet.
right. It's still different than those cities, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
but is it maybe building in Canadian, being Canadian is you're known for saying sorry, saying a, but not really.
Well, we can get into all the Canadiana's quirks and mannerisms later for sure. We'll have a whole episode dedicated to that.
No, but it's part of being Canadian, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say. And I'd say, yeah.
Because I think so I know we're going on a bit of a tangent, but I think it's cool to explore this a little bit. And we do have a piece on this where we actually list out some things that we think are Canadians, and I think we'll get to there at some point. But there's Canadian foods, there's poutine.
Yeah, and there's there's things that we do in certain situations.
Like what?
Well, if we're holding the door for someone,
Yeah.
we tend usually, ideally, if you're not a
Dick.
yeah,
You'll hold
you'd hold the door a little bit longer
look
than
if
that.
there's someone behind you.
Yeah, you give the look or something, and then if you're driving on the 401 or whatever it is, you're giving people the wave when they're moving in.
Yeah, or someone lets you in, you give them a wave.
Yeah, just
I wonder if
thing to do.
Yeah, so maybe I think so. I think it comes down to Canadian mannerisms. I think there's a lot of cities in the world where big cities and different cultures breed different type of what's acceptable social behavior. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're in I don't know if you're in Shanghai or something like that. If you're trying to take the subway, don't try to hold the door for somebody again. It is busy as shit. You need to get on, get off, and rush hour Toronto's like that too.
Yeah, but if I'm rush hour in Toronto, I'm giving the
And
death stare.
Death
to
stare to
people
everybody.
there.
Yeah. But I feel like there's something about the city you grow up in Canada. There's at least like a theme. Feels like that. There's like, and there's other places in the world that obviously have similar cultures. But maybe it's just a brand of being Canadian. It kind of spills into like part of the identity. It doesn't matter if you're born here, if you came here, you adopt niceties because there's something so special about this country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know exactly what I mean. I think I disagree with this sort of framework, but there's something that I felt like we were always kind of taught in like elementary school, where your teacher's like, oh, like Canada's not a melting pot, it's a collage. I'm like, well, that's like, okay, yeah. But at the same time, like that's kind of a very safe way of saying like, oh, there's a bunch of different cultures in Canada.
Yeah.
It's great. That still exists for other countries in the world. We still have our own brand of how we operate in this and how we kind of are in this country.
Yeah.
So,
and I think
I don't know. That's
no, and so I'm gonna pull a triggered moment for the Daily Double for folks that are watching this and then thinking like, oh man, this seems like some like nationalist stuff, but it's not. I think that's the big thing to talk about, is that in Canada there is a culture of being Canadian, and again, it doesn't matter where you come from, but it's about being accepting, it's about being open, it's about being diverse, and it's about, you know, polite mannerisms that I think come with this country and how privileged we are here, and like. Yeah. And I think I actually really like your point. I know, and I think yes, it's a collage to like a big extent. But again, there is diversity and there's uniqueness, and you don't have to paint everybody that comes here as just a part of the Canadian culture. They can keep their own culture and be Canadian. You know what I mean? I don't think they just do it like I don't. And I think that's one of the things. Like my grandma came from like a tiny village in Greece, and my grandpa in like I think it was like the '60s, and like they got made fun of probably at some point for like not being able to speak English, which I think most immigrants face now, and I think that's really tough. Was not necessarily made to overtly, but like struggled with. But once they got the language, I think they found their home in Canada because they had other people from their community around them, but also they started adopting Canadian mentality. You know what I mean? Like just like the people of Canada doesn't mean if you've been here for 5 years or 50 years. Like there's something about being here that changes you, I think, and it makes it warms you, I think. But maybe I don't know. I'm just biased. Like I love this country, so I traveled a fair bit, and I like freaking love this place.
I think over the next couple of times we do this, you're gonna find out that we do like this country, but we're gonna chirp the shit out of it too.
Oh yeah. There's so much. There's a lot of things wrong with Canada. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, we're not some like.
We're not gonna start out any politics and like the mudslinging that was that bullcrap.
We're gonna play devil's advocate.
Yeah, I hope so.
And we're gonna, don't get me wrong. At the same time, we're gonna be big cheerleaders too.
Yeah.
But I got no problem chirping stuff and giving applauses where it need be.
Yeah.
But so like I get it where you're coming from. Like, oh, like I had, my grandparents came here. They struggled for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that should be. And this doesn't. I don't mean to sound nasty, but like should be expected in little ways. Like if I'm me myself, like ask yourself this: if I want to start a new life in a new country that speaks a different language, it's not going to be all, rainbows and, the Golden Brick Road to wherever that out or that.
No, you're going for the Yellow Brick Road. But
right. Yeah.
Unless you're making really, really good, like nice, like.
No, that was the whole. Yeah, that was good. Way to bridge that gap.
Okay, thank you.
So I think you probably, me myself, if I were trying to make that big change in my life, I'm not going to expect that it's going to be all smooth and lovey-dovey. But with that being said, like we're not like some nationalist shut-off society that's closed like North Korea or something that we don't let anyone else in, right?
Yeah.
So I think we do.
Or even US, like with all their immigration stuff right now too.
Yeah, right? And I think we're light years out of them, but I think there's still some room for improvement. Yeah, going both ways.
Cool. So should we jump? Should we jump so quick?
This was way too long in this topic.
No, whatever. It's our first go. We got time.
Yeah. So this next segment is called Canadian Corner of the Week. So ideally, the first week, I'll tell you right now, the first Canadian Corner of the Week is Ottawa. And the reason why we do that, capital, there's lots of things to do there and talk about.
We wanted to hit the checkmark star on the map,
And
that's a geography for those of you that have looked at a map recently. It's a geography joke.
Anyway, Ottawa's the first one. Ideally, when we go forward, we might find some more smaller nicks and kind of unique places that aren't so like.
Well, I hope we can have someone call in or something, or like get people like submissions, like, hey, feature my city, that'd be cool.
Yeah, if you guys really like if you think you guys have an awesome city that people should come see and check out,
or like one part of the city that's really cool. It could be like a cool bridge or something, and it's worthwhile.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll go somewhere for a bridge if it's like.
There's some nice bridges. I used to live underneath a bridge in Windsor.
Really?
It's called the Ambassador Bridge. Goes over to Detroit.
Oh, cool.
It's
Did you ever Did you always play like Red Hot Chili Peppers in your house? So, under the bridge. It was like,
it's a good one.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge. Check it out, folks. I never wanna feel now.
Okay, right.
I says, I don't ever want to feel. That's right. That's my cover version. Sorry, continue. You were saying.
Great bridge in Windsor.
Okay.
All the Windsorites, you can see the bridge for miles.
Okay.
Kilometers.
Okay.
But they know what I'm talking about in Windsor.
So Ottawa, what's the fancy? They got the canal. Let's keep. I don't want to spend too much time on Ottawa because it's like, yeah.
People know Ottawa already.
Yeah. So
they got the Parliament
canal.
buildings. The canal freezes over in the winter. It's like
skate.
the longest skating rink one of the longest skating rinks in the world. It's beautiful. They got beaver tails down there,
Which is deep fried deliciousness with stuff on top. We don't have to go into too much detail.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's part of our food too. We'll do like a big.
Okay, we'll do a thing on that.
We'll do a food
so
episode
canal,
too.
Parliament, beaver tails.
There's like
Justin
ice
Trudeau.
sculptures. There's like awesome national museums. They got the War Museum. They got the Culture Museum. They got tons of stuff there.
Okay.
For those of you that like hockey, there's Ottawa Senators. And for Christ's sake, go watch the Sens play. I don't care if you like or hate the owner. They're an NHL hockey team, and it's very exciting.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, I don't know. Some people like.
I'm a Sens fan. We'll get that out of the way.
Just come up with it.
We'll get that out of the way.
I didn't want to out him, but
no, I got nothing. Hey,
see, like,
bring it on, people. Bring it on.
So it's funny. I grew up playing a lot of hockey, as you know. And I know you grew up playing a lot as well. And then I've obviously moved into the arts in the last 10 years, and like really seriously. So I don't really care that much anymore. Like I'll watch the Leafs. But the one team I refuse to watch, and I don't watch hockey very often, but I refuse to watch the Ottawa Senators. They just suck, dude.
You know what's funny? That's my favorite pastime.
Yeah.
Is not necessarily watching the Sens win, but it's watching the Leafs lose. I've enjoyed my life for a long time.
Anyway, so folks, go check out Ottawa sometimes. We're going to post something online about it.
We'll do another.
Yeah,
we're going to article on it.
We're going to be
something cooler on that.
Yeah, we're going to be mindful of time. We're going to try to keep things to 25-minute segments because we think that's like a long enough time for people to watch. Today's probably going to run over because we're just having fun with it.
Yeah.
But let's jump into our next one. Netflix is killing my goals. So I actually want to pull up the article about this because I think we wrote some funny stuff and
this kind of goes similar to like Netflix.
So Netflix, streaming
HBO,
platforms, Disney Plus, Jinx,
Prime.
You owe me a soda.
Pop.
Continue. Sorry.
Pop.
What?
Pop.
Soda. Oh yeah. Why did I say that was American of me?
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry.
I think he's Canadian. I've only lived with him for 4 months.
I have a birth certificate. I think. Okay, so Netflix. So anything streaming. So I guess one of the things. Why don't we just watch it too much?
This is the problem.
Tell me. Talk to me.
This is you. This is you. I'm literally talking to. You're that person that comes home from school or work, whatever, throws on one show, and just before supper or something, ends up streaming about 3.5 hours.
So when you say you, are you talking to yourself in the third person?
Yes and no. I'm talking to everyone.
I've come home to Kyle the last 3 days. Not the last 3 days.
I have
3
a
days.
serious office problem.
He has a serious problem.
A shit ton of office. I started watching The Office when I was 11.
He's the most basic bitch there is. Just watches The Office like there's no tomorrow.
I think there's like easily 15 times every episode. I'm not even ashamed to say that. I love The Office.
I recently started. I watched Sex Education on it.
You need it.
So thank you.
Yeah.
So funny. The guy's so Otis. That name just got me. I was like, this dude is hilarious. I gotta watch him. Check it out if you haven't seen it. I refuse to watch You because that thing seems like it would just creep the shit out of me. And someone told me the first season was like fucked up.
Yeah, I'm like, no thank you.
No thank you. I could live without it. Okay, so here are the 3 ways. We dropped down to 3 ways that Netflix influences me. 1, making a move. So like, I guess there's like, do you ever feel like someone's like, let's Netflix and chill. Like this idea of Netflix and chilling where it's like, so do I like need to have a show running in the background to make a move? Like if I do it in silence,
Just pick The Office. Watch The Office for 10 minutes.
Okay, I don't care about the type of, but like, is it like inappropriate to make a move without a show running in the background now? Is that what we've come to? It's like, I just want to go for a little bit of but I have to make sure there's at least some background noise to like make me feel comfortable. Is that weird? Like, what if I'm watching The Office and this thing I know I get turned on?
You're getting psyched out because there's nothing in the background noise, just your lips trying to kiss this girl.
Yeah. And like,
Yeah, that would creep me out a little bit.
yeah. Okay. So that's really messing
Throw
with
in
me.
the office, people.
Yeah. Life lessons. Okay, so here's the thing. People tend to learn from TV shows. It like gives you perspectives. It shows you new things, documentaries, etc. Anything. Stuff that you haven't lived through. If you see it on TV, then a lot of times people actually internalize that. And when a situation similarly arises in their life, they're more likely to act as what they've seen. And I actually read this for like kind of recently when we were starting this article. And I'm wondering if I am one of my characters. I think you have a character that you identify with, don't you?
For 5 years, I was Jim off The Office.
Like Jim Halpert?
Yeah.
For those of you, Pam and Jim, they're a very cute couple.
I think
Kyle is just as charming.
Yes, you guys have definitely watched The Office, or maybe
If you haven't watched The Office, go watch The Office. Steve Carell is hilarious in it, super uncomfortable.
I once asked.
Dwight Schrute might be my spirit animal. No.
Literally, one time I asked out a girl, just like Jim did when he asked out Pam for the first time.
Yeah.
I did it in school in front of everyone because I thought it was Jim. Serious identity crisis. I'll get into that.
No, but the thing is, like, I think it gives us, TV gives us a mold of like people you respect in characters. That's why they're like that. It gives you a mold of like, hey, I see myself in this character, and that's what makes it powerful. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty normal. Third one. You want to keep rolling, or do you want to keep going on that?
Roll, baby.
Okay, roll it. You see me rolling. Oh, that's a terrible one. Decisions. So, I spend so much time just changing, like figuring out what to watch next, because I'll burn 3 hours and then I'll spend 45 minutes deciding what to binge and waste my life on next.
You know what's the worst?
What?
Is when you're Netflix and chilling, and you just want to get to the chilling, but you end up spending way too much time thinking of something to watch, so you can get something, pick something that gets people into the mood.
But what's the perfect mood show? That's why you say The Office, because like you can't pick something that's too like thought intensive.
But, yeah,
I thought that's too thought intensive, and you also can't pick something that's like
that's
gory,
interesting. Well,
too interesting that you'll end up wanting to watch.
Exactly.
Because then the next thing you know, you're ordering a pizza and sitting there and not gonna move for like 6 hours. We got some fans. We seem really cool because we're on television now, or my phone, but no one knows the difference.
All right, switch it up.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Okay. So we got the next topic. We're rolling. Okay. So I know we've got a bit of a transition here.
Not that
Oh, thank you so much, Grammarly.
This is our music section. I
Yeah.
guess.
So we got a music section.
Our buddy.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
My friend, my old roommate from school. His name's Tunksy, Michael Tunks. He.
Tunksy, you guys are such basic bitches.
No, he's great. Hey, once you guys meet him, you guys will love him. He voice cracks more than anyone.
I'm actually calling Kyle a basic bitch, not you. I already like you.
We'll keep going. Steven and Mike have actually never met.
Yeah.
Tunks is a big music fan. He plays music. He loves music. He took music to school. He dropped out of school to take more music.
Nice.
I don't think Mike would want us talking about that, but whatever.
Whatever.
Anyway, a lot of my music that I listen to is influenced by this guy. And everyone thinks that they have a great taste in music. Mike does. He listens to all kinds of different kinds of music. So the idea in this section is that we're going to pick a Canadian artist of the week, and Mike listens from anything, literally anything from country to rock to rap to
whatever Drake is.
Yeah, those are all three basic genres, but literally anything else.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this week he picked. What did he pick?
I don't actually know. I was hoping you knew.
I think he picked the Zolas.
The Zolas?
Yeah.
The Zolas. Okay, so the Zolas. Do we have a review of them?
I think we do. And the Zolas, I believe, they're from BC, are they not?
I'm gonna go. You're gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up.
Great radio for our folks
Zolas.
here.
The Zolas. Can you Google it for me? Because who knows what I'm doing? The Zolas. Oh.
Anyway, they're an awesome.
This is Ancient Mars. Can you guys hear this? I might cut this into the sound. Whoa, this is funky. I like it.
Yeah. They're awesome. So Mike told me about these guys, and you're just okay, Mike, whatever. Just give me your playlist. And Zolas was on it. I was like, dude.
Okay.
They're pretty catchy.
This is Ancient Mars.
Your foot's definitely tapping.
It's definitely well, no, it's not yet. But I'm just gonna. Okay, so I have a bad habit of just singing along to stuff I don't know yet. Know the words to because it's just catchy. So forgive me in advance. it's not quite there yet. All right, you got the. Okay, I'll play guitar. Play the drums. I got the guitar. Oh yeah, we got this. We go. Oh, this flow is sick. Oh man, I kind of like this. I kind of want to. We're not going to put you through this whole rest of that song, but yeah, check it out. Put the Zolas
through what? And I was like, you're sorry for stopping the song.
No, like, well, there's 3 minutes. Because if we keep going, I'm gonna. If we keep going, I'm gonna keep
stand
singing
up
like an idiot.
knock the camera over.
Yeah, or something dumb's gonna happen. Zolas, that's Zolas. That was Ancient Mars. Really cool. Check it out. I think we're getting to the end. We're on a wrap up. Is there anything you want to talk about like next week? We are going to start taking requests for topics at some point. You can send us an email. Kyle, what is our email?
youngcanadian@gmail.com.
Yonge Canadian. Yonge Canadian spelled like Yonge Street Canadian @gmail.com. You can address it to Stephen and Kyle, Stevie T and Kyle. We got to come up with a nickname for you, just so you know.